Gamble second grade class. We are starting informational writing today. We are learning to write like a scientist. So I'm glad you're here with us and you're going to learn right along with our class. So class, each of you has your clipboard and I've given you lab report paper. So this is something that we're going to use. As we learn to write like a scientist, there are several steps in the process. So I want to think back to a story we've already read this year. We read about the invention of, who can tell me? Matthew?
Bubblegum.
Of bubblegum. And we talked about how the bookkeeper, his office ended up being right next to the lab. And they already made chewing gum, but they wanted to be able to blow bubbles with it. And give me a thumbs up if it worked the very first time he created bubblegum. Give me a thumbs up if it worked the first time. Were they able to blow bubbles?
No. Yes.
The first time, they blew bubbles, but did it start to get really hard?
Yes.
Yeah, it was really hard. So did his experiment to create that bubble gum work? No, it didn't work that first time. So he had to go back, just like a scientist does, and he had to try something new, right? Because it didn't work the first time. Was he successful the next time? Did the bubble gum stay soft so that they could cut it up and sell it? Yeah, they did. So that's what scientists do. They will try something, and if it doesn't work, they make a change to test it and try something new. So we are going to spend this next unit doing science experiments and writing. Doesn't that sound funny? Yeah, we normally do science experiments during science, but now we're going to get to do them during writing too. So today we're going to do a science experiment, and we're going to kind of talk through the process of how to write all that information down in your lab report. And scientists write a lot of information down because how would we have science books if scientists didn't spend all that time writing? Cheyenne, what do you think?
We wouldn't learn anything about science, and we would, I forgot what the
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to learn all this really cool information about science. Good. Well, here is what we're going to talk about in session 1 today. When scientists conduct experiments to learn about the world, they have a certain way they usually write. They use what is called a lab report. And so that's what we're going to do with the paper on your clipboard. They will record what they expect will happen. They are going to record how they completed the experiment, so what they did, the results of the experiment, and what did they learn at the end. Isn't it kind of important for them to share with us what they learned?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. I'm going to move that because we're going to need that space. Okay, as we go through, we're also going to talk about all the steps that we're going to learn. So here is how we are going to begin the process of writing our experiment. The first thing we're going to do is we have to ask a question. So we have to ask a question that we are going to answer with our experiment. So today I'm going to help you out. I'm going to go ahead and give you that question. Does that sound good? All right.
Yes.
But I do want to show you, we have some materials. So I have a few friends that are going to help me. I've got 2 books. Three meter sticks, a board, and this awesome yellow truck. Okay. So those are the things that we are going to use during our experiment today. So on our lab report, we are going to record first our question. So what I want you to do is take out your pencil. And Miss Campbell just made a really big copy of your paper. Mine isn't pretty pink like yours, but it'll work. All right. So our problem for today is, will this little car go farther off the ramp that our scientists are going to build onto carpet or on bare floor? I'm going to give you a couple seconds to write down. I want you to write problem, and then you're going to put a colon, and I want you to write down the question that Miss Campbell has written down. Okay? So write that down. Ava, if you need to scoot around to see it, that's fine. Matthew?
I want this one.
Here, we get one.
I need an eraser.
Okay, now that we have our problem written down, I want to tell you, I forgot to mention, at the top of your paper, I want you to put today's date. It is 11 at the top of your paper, right above your picture box. 11-6-14, and I want you to write your name. Okay, the next part is, now that we know what our question is, will this little car go farther off the ramp on carpet or on the floor? We have to come up with our hypothesis. So, who can tell me in reading, what do we call it in reading? Cheyenne? Yeah, prediction. So in science we call it a hypothesis. You're predicting or you're guessing what is going to be the result of our experiment. So right now I want you to turn and talk with your partner. What do you think is going to happen? Will the car go faster off the ramp onto the carpet or the bare floor? Which one's going to go further? Which one's going to go further? The bare floor, what do you think? Onto the bare floor, or is it going to go farther and further? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Sharing is done.
3, 2, 1. Sharing is done.
Okay, I'm going to give you a second to write down your hypothesis. You've shared with your partner what you think is going to happen. So you're going to write, I think, and you're going to tell me, I think the car will go farther, and you've got to make a choice, on the carpet or on the bare floor. Make sure you have a nice, complete sentence, so go ahead and write it. Okay, now that we have our hypothesis, I would like for just maybe 3 people to share what you came up with. Lucas, can you read your hypothesis to me?
I think the bare floor is better
Than the carpet?
Yeah.
Good. All right, Riley, what did you come up with?
I think the car will go farther on the bare floor.
Good. And Sebastian, what did you think?
I think it will go farther on bare floor.
Okay, farther on bare floor. Okay, now in that box, there's this nice big box because also as scientists, we need to draw pictures, okay? So that we know that we are doing everything exactly like the experiment tells us. So we have 3 meter sticks. So I'm going to have you draw in your box 3 meter sticks. Remember, we need lots of room, so you won't want to make them too big in your box. Yep, that's it. Okay, so 3 meter sticks. The next thing you have is a board. So you're going to draw a board. Also, when we draw pictures, what is something that we talked about when we went through informational books? What was it, Matthew?
They can be photographs.
They can be photographs or they can be sketches. And what do they need sometimes?
Labels.
Labels, right. So I'm going to draw my meter sticks. I might draw some lines so I can tell it's a ruler. And I'm going to label it. Meter sticks. And then I've got my board. And I'm going to label it.